Hi, kitty cats. It is Tuesday, and so I decided, after a long month, I'd rather take your topics instead of think up one of my own. Yeah. Some might actually call that lazy. I'm calling it discussing the most pressing current events of the day. So tonight, I will be taking your questions, your topics. You can ask me anything, and then when we're finished with that, we can hop back into Super Lesbian Animal RPG, into Slarpage. Because Allison needs to find her girlfriend, no doubt. Ooh, let me add some people already. So I see Angela, I see Margie, I see Genevieve. Hello, everybody. Did I miss anybody? No, I didn't. Um, all right. So anyway, live stream. Here I am. I'm starting this live stream here. I'm Dr. Amethysta Herrick. I am both an author and a podcaster, and I discuss identity and gender from a scientific standpoint. And you can find so much more about me down there at the website below, which is purplepopland.com. On my website, you're going to find all the social media networks I'm on, and you can read my articles, view my podcasts, and you can also find out about hypnosis if you want to do some hypnosis with me, which, right, I'm enchanting as it is. If you'd like to support my work, you can get a subscription on the website for as little as $5 a month. But you can also support me just by signing up for the free email newsletter so that you can keep aware of what I'm up to. And finally, I do love to publish other people's work. So if you have original work about identity and gender, make sure to email me using that same dang website below, purplepodclan.com. There is a contact page on the website, and you can reach out to me, and we'll talk about things. All right, I do. So here's my opening plugs. Tonight, actually, let me check a couple of things. I want to make sure that all this is working. At this point, I'm just like so glad that I got the camera on. Right, so that's working there. Good. That does not seem to be working there, but I don't really know what's happening. All right, everything seems to be going. We'll run with it. We'll see what happens. All right, here we go. So tonight I want to take your questions and topics, definitely. If you have a question, ask it. If you want me to discuss a topic, name it. Like I'm I'm willing to where am I going with this? I'm willing to take like some weird ones and just go, okay, we'll see what happens. Angela, I've pinned your question, so I will get to that. But one point I wanted to bring up, just as I wanted to throw something out here. I got a comment, so I want to bring up something. So from Sunday's stream, sorry, let me try this again. Here's a point that happened from Sunday's stream about feminism. So I got a comment. I actually got several comments. Interestingly, none of which were about feminism. I found that I'm like, why are we talking? Whatever. But I got a comment from Sunday's stream when I talked about feminism. Somebody said, hey, the first women's bank of Tennessee. And I think this was intended to be evidence against my claim that women were unable to own a bank account until the 1970s. There's an interesting story about the first women's bank of Tennessee. The comment, incidentally, said it opened, I think, in 1870, is what I believe they say. That's wrong. Turns out it opened almost 40 years later. It was 1919, almost 50 years later. Opened in 1919 and was sold to First Trust and Savings Bank in 1926. So it operated for a total of 7 years. It was the first bank, at least in the United States, fully owned and operated by women alone. Turns out men could have bank accounts there. That's nice. Men were allowed to have bank accounts, but it was set up specifically for women to be able to open bank accounts there. So I'll go on record, okay? Well, first of all, thank you. Hi, Matt's here. Hi, Matt. Thank you so much. I will admit, I stand corrected, okay? It was possible for a woman to open a bank account, assuming she lived in Tennessee between the between the years of 1919 and 1926. And then after that, it became generally available in the 1970s. I think it's important, like, let's ask this question though, like, why did the first Women's Bank of Tennessee open? It opened because women were not able to get a bank account. This was women actually taking the initiative, which is cool. Um, and it was not at all supported by the rest of the establishment. I'm going to tell you, I don't know the rest of this story. I don't know specifically if First Trust and Savings Bank still allowed women to open new accounts after absorbing the bank, but given I don't find anything about that, I'm going to guess that, the answer is no. Take that guess. But I find it really fascinating, let's just say, that this comment had to be made in the first place. That somebody went, you know what? I really need to bring this up because, and even if we neglect, all right, even if we neglect that this person was wrong with the date by 50 years, it's kind of a revisionist history about women's rights. That there was one bank in one state, that's two fingers now, one bank in one state, 7 years. Was that enough to make everything okay? Should I go, oh, well, okay. You know what? You're right. I suppose feminism was not at all necessary. Thank you so much for changing my mind on this. I have seen the light. Now I will immediately read the words of Dostoevsky and what was this all about? It's like this revisionist history, as if, one example, one counter example, a shitty one, let me go with that, was going to make everything okay. So anyway, that was kind of my little warm up topic. This person has yet to respond again, by the way. They haven't sent another comment, but I was like, what are you talking about? So right, see, Margie brings up the point, the exception that proves the rule. Like, this is supposed to be, I always and Matt makes another great point. Here we go. Listen, we've had not just one, but two women who ran for president. You can't possibly believe this is a sexist country. Oh my goodness. So, Genevieve, I did miss your question. Where is your question? I'm gonna have to. Do you mind? Can you write it again? Because I think I missed it. Here, now I'm gonna pop this up. Can I Okay, toggle pin. Is that gonna work? Oh my goodness! Look, the whole thing worked. Or here's a question. By the way, I should say hi to everybody. Did I say hi to everybody? Margie and Angela and Genevieve and Matt. So hi to everybody. Oh gosh. Well, wait, Matt, I don't know where you are. I'm now in 4 different places. And actually, a little tidbit on that. I will get to this comment. A little tidbit on that. I've been using a particular video card, but there was last week, right? There were a bajillion sales because apparently one other thing. Yeah, hold on, Matt. Another thing that has to do with Americans in November is that we also have to. Oops, somehow that got clicked. As well as eating turkey or something and pretending like that's supposed to be some sort of happy happy alliance between the Native Americans and the early European settlers, English British settlers in particular, is we have these sales. So I got this big ass video card. I got myself an RTX 5070 because I'm now streaming to 4 different locations. What I'm going to do is I will, now I've got the pin, Genevieve, thanks. I'm going to give initials here because I don't want to, I can't say it all. I can't say the names because I get pissed off. Oh, hey, Emma's here. Hi, Emma. Anyway, I'm on both vertical and horizontal on YT. I'm on vertical on TT, and then the other one that's a T, just a T. TW? I don't know. On horizontal on that. So, right, it's all over. Hey, Amber. Amber just showed back. So, all right, here we go. So let me see. Let me answer this. Here we go. So it came up. Here we go. Angela asks, do I regret not transitioning earlier? I think this is a phenomenal question. And I don't have a lot of great, like, I wish I had a better answer for this, because I'll tell you, one of the things that, until I transitioned, wow, my stomach just just growled, like pretty loudly. Hope you didn't hear that. Before I transitioned, I think I would say this, before I transitioned, yeah, I really regretted not having done it. I think that's just the way I'll put it. That being said, once I did transition, and I realized all of the things that would have happened or would not have happened if I transitioned earlier, I started to go, maybe not. Oh, look, I've got Radical Bruja here as well. Hello. Good to see you. I know, I haven't seen you in forever either. Um, so yeah, maybe, I think when I was maybe in my 30s, which is by 35 or so, let's say, 35, I'm like, boy, I really regret not having transitioned at this point. Once I finally did it at, 52, now I go, gosh, if I had transitioned at 30, then we wouldn't have a kid. I probably wouldn't have had certain realizations, inspirations. I'm not sure the word I want to use. I probably would not have learned to care for myself better, which I kind of was forced to do. We have a kid, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to figure out some way to care for myself so I can care for the family. So I actually kind of think it was good that I had to wait. Um, I'm glad I didn't wait longer. How about if I say that? But I'm not super regretful at this point because there's just a whole lot of I would have missed out on so much. It's difficult for me to believe that my life would be better now anyway, if I had transitioned earlier. So hopefully, Angela, that was a good that was a good question, but or a good answer. It's a weird one because I get asked that occasionally, and I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know. That's weird." See, so Radical Bruja says right here. Oops, where'd it go? I gotta find it. Watch this, by the way. This is new. See, look, now I can pop your comment up. What has two thumbs and can pop Radical Bruja's comment up? And so anyway, so they say the timing was meant for me. So I have much more experience. Yeah. I think that's amazing. I think it's an amazing thing. Thank you, Amber, by the way, and hi to Morgan Sweaterfan 288. Hi. I think that Margie makes an excellent point too. The medications 20 years ago had a lot more downsides, also not bioidentical hormones, etc. A lot of truth there. I think, I mean, at this point, my therapy was very, it wasn't so horrible. I didn't have any anti-androgens and stuff, but I think I think Margie makes a great point. So, look at this. I got Scott Harkins. I'm just going to put this up, which is very different from Scott Farkas, by the way. I'm just going to say that. So Scott Harkins says, hello from Whidbey Island, Washington. Hello. Good to see you. Says, America is a great country. We've mastered all the isms and made them our own. Sure, it looks like we're backsliding, but yeah, it's backsliding. I do want to pop that up because I wanted to be able to read it just like that. Sure, it looks like we're backsliding, but yeah, it's backsliding. Okay, so Radical Bruja's taken off. Good to see you. I'll try to stay beautiful. You stay beautiful too. I love this. So Amber says, gosh, I have so many little things floating through here. Where did it go? Amber says, I'm just trying to pop it up. Oh, here we go. So Angela says, even though she transitioned at 30 in 1990, gosh, you still regret that you didn't have the courage to do it earlier. See, I think I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I definitely didn't have the courage. I mean, I kind of did because, like, I went, to a clinic in Los Angeles, But I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be so hard. This is going to be terrible. I'm gonna let this go. So reading it like that, now I go, yeah, okay, good point. It's a good point. I think I wish that I had prioritized myself earlier, but I think if I did, I would have also learned the lessons that having a child forced me to learn immediately. So, did that go away? Good. Where was? Where did that go? Oh my goodness! I had something from Amber that I was gonna. Where in the world was it? Amber says, I absolutely regret. Oh, here we go. I found it. Did I get it? I got it. Okay, geez. Amber says she does regret not starting earlier. Yeah, I'm just I don't know. I get to a point where I just go. I'm pretty sure I don't want to go down that road because it would be awful. So a lot of regret in a lot of other ways. I will say that. So here's a good question from Genevieve. All right, here we go. So it says, in my experience, can I do post-op minimum depth solo, or would I need a helper? Oh my good goddess, I think you need a helper. So I was mentioning, it has been said. I've told the story. I went to Thailand for this whole thing, right? In Thailand, I was in the hospital, stayed in the hospital, like in a bed. In fact, they didn't let me out of the bed for I think 5 days. I think 5. But I couldn't get out of bed. Oh, it made me so upset. Oh my god, I was so angry. Morgan, give me one sec because I'm going to tell you. I will bring you up. Um, anyway, even after a total of 8 nights until I was released, I got to tell you, I would not have wanted to do that alone because it was still kind of rough. I went home, 8 days later, and I remember sitting in the car. Well, it was a big van actually. They gave us this big, huge. I felt like I should be like standing up with like my head through this moon roof with like a bottle of champagne or something, going woo, squirting all over. Spring Break '84 kind of deal, right? So anyway, I remember we're bouncing, and I probably would have, except I was still in pain. So we're kind of bouncing along, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to sit down or lie back down. This is awful. So my opinion, yes, a helper would absolutely be a good idea. So that's there's my opinion on that. Here we go. So radical Bruja, unfortunately, she took off. But this is such a beautiful question, right? Did you always know? I would say that I can certainly remember by 4 years old. Yeah. Um, I was talking to a friend of mine named Sophia. I brought her up a second in another stream, and Sophia asked me, "Have I done content that talks about, um, being a transgender child?" And I've said no, because anytime you bring up minors, oh, they come after you. They definitely come after you. So I haven't wanted to. But she says, no, not don't bring up minors. Talk about your um experience. And I went, oh, that's a good point. So I'm thinking about doing this Sunday, which Margie, you remember I said, hold off, let's read that poem on Sunday. Now I'm giving away the thing. But that's why. Because I'm going to do a stream that's like, well, this is what it's like growing up transgender, because that's not easy. It's really difficult, and I think a lot of people here can relate. So, do I toggle pin? Oops, did I get rid of it? Dang, here we go. All right. There. Maybe you haven't seen it in the comments. There's a person named Morgan. Where is it? Here we go. Here we go. So somebody named Morgan. This is a new friend of mine. I met Morgan this week, maybe over the weekend. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to remove that. I met Morgan, I think during the weekend, and I'm just gonna say, so Morgan seems like a great person, Morgan is a the way they identify is as a cross dresser, and we're starting to have some of these conversations that like they've never been able to have in their life because it's really hard to grow up with some of these tendencies. So look, Morgan, I wrapped you into the rest of the story there. This is why I'm a professional. Now I really just need to be paid, I suppose. But what else do we get? Yeah, see here. Oops. Did I get? Oh, I did. Okay. So yeah, Matt brings up, you've got, over the counter gender affirming care was absolutely non existent 20 years ago. Margie said, the bioidentical hormones are is one of the aspects of it that wasn't there. Give me 1 second, Morgan. I'll bring you back up. Hey, Red Dog. So yeah, just the fact that we've got the ability to get some of these medications more easily is beautiful. So I think I think it's a great point. I do like the last bit here. Now Matt says he's not going to transition until he's 90, if he's alive. Which I'll tell you, I think that would be awesome. I can imagine somebody being 90, and I will tell you So the clinic that I go to, which is True You Clinic, by the way, there's a shout out for them. I'm going to stick them on my my partner page on my website as soon as I hear back from her, which I haven't. But point here is that she said that she has somebody in at least 80s. I think she said 90s, and I was like, damn, like I love that. I absolutely adore that somebody would do that in their 90s. I think it's fabulous. Okay, here we go. Don't pin that last comment. Amber will never let me forget it, right? Okay, I'm going to bring this up. Okay. Part of the reason Sweater Fan reached out to me, I'm sure you've all seen I have some videos where I get hit with pies in the face. It's funny to me, and I find it enjoyable. I find it hilarious, and that was part of why they reached out. I'm saying this like I'm all shy and ridiculous, silly, feeling silly about it, and I guess I kind of am. But at the same time, I just go, look, I may as well own that, right? Because I think you have all probably seen videos where I got hit with pies in the face, so I'm gonna have to let it go. There you go, Morgan. Just for you. All right, let me see. Where was the other? Where's the other one I want to went to? Oh, here we go. So Angela, did I click it? Yes. Angela brings up that 33 years ago, she remembers that the surgeon asked if I wanted, oh my gosh, like actual testimonials or something. Wait a minute, he was practicing doing the surgery. Oh gosh. Okay. So 33 years ago, Angela got surgery done by somebody who was essentially practicing. An interesting point. So when I was at Thailand, I'm talking to the surgeon, and oh hey Emma's back. Woo. When I was talking to the surgeon, he says something. He goes, "Oh, well, I have my own special technique that I use. Right I've got my own special technique." And he said that, and I was like, "Oh goodness, please tell me he's not practicing this on me. What's going to happen here?" By the way, it works really well. I'll just, Angela says that it works. So does mine. Really well. Really super well. Thank you for that, Angela. Now Jean-Vieve asks, how about a 6-hour drive post-op? I mean, if we're talking a day or two later, oh, I think that's going to hurt. But if you can, lean back, if you're not the one driving, because I think they told me I wasn't allowed to drive. I mean, we were in Bangkok, so it's not like I was going to jump in a car and try to do something. But I think they told me don't drive. I think it was a minimum of 2 weeks. Might have been 3. But it was a long time. And I was like, wow, really? Okay. So there's my thought on that 6 hour drive. If you're not the one driving, you're probably okay because at least you can lie back, and take a pill or something, take a pain pill. Okay. Oh gosh, you are driving. All right. I mean, I'll be interested in hearing. Yeah, I think if you're strong, you're going to be good. Um, I'll be interested in seeing what happens. So, all right, Margie brings up, yes, it's a dark and probably pointless road to consider what it'd be like to transition by first puberty. I think it is. You know, it would not have been very possible in the 70s. Agreed. If to try to transition by, you know, 16 anyway, 14, 16. Um, yeah, it was probably possible in the 80s, but I would say that really what we were when this got possible was in the 90s when puberty blockers were approved by the FDA. For use because they didn't start off as puberty blockers, but when they were approved for precocious puberty in 1993 or four, I think 92 to 94. So um, I think that's when this really became tractable, I think is the word I'd want to use. So um, yeah, it would have been 23 through puberty. It wouldn't have made a lot of difference at that point, but there you go. So hi, Willow. Willow in the woods. Willow in the woods. Willows are always by rivers, though. I mean, and you can certainly have a willow in the woods by a river. So, throw that out there. Um, Angela says that he was an expert urologist surgeon. I hope so. But I actually have heard. I had, who was it? Oh, I do know who it was. There was a friend of mine I know from someplace else. Not a big deal, or not at the point. But she told me that she was going to like a gynecologist, and I was like, "Wait, don't you want like a surgeon?" And she goes, "Yeah, she does surgeries." And I was like, "All right." And she ended up super happy. So I don't know if, yeah, I don't know. It was expert urologist surgeon, I guess, was significant, sufficient, no doubt. So, what else do we have? Oh my gosh, I went through all of my comments super fast. Uh, Wait, Margie, I'm not sure what this means. Lots of trans T media options. Oh gosh, oh I hear it. Sorry. This is when I was talking about the streaming platforms that start with T. Right. Oh, so did I don't know if I finished the story either. So now I'm using a new video card because part of why I wanted to do this is that now I'm streaming to four different places. So I've got, I'm looking at this thing cranking through, cranking through stuff, computer stuff. I have no idea how it works. Anyway, computer stuff doing like the 4,000 bits per second. So I got four of those going on. So 16,000 BPS this thing's chewing through. Now I'll tell you the last time I did this, which was on Sunday, my computer was like, ooh, it's not happy. So my computer's really happy right now. So apparently the 5070 is working. Oh, so Matt's okay. Here we go. Now I've got to go all techie. My apologies, folks. The 4070. So now you're streaming games, Matt. Like you want something. You're probably doing like 60 FPS streaming. At this point, I'm streaming 30 frames per second because who needs to look at me in like 60 frames per second? What was the other thing I was going to say about that? Not to mention the games I'm playing. Not very. Yeah, right. You're doing 10 FPS. Okay. Anyway, so Emma asks this question. Yes. Do I have any idea why you can't see anyone else's comments? Because I'm going to four different places. I have everything integrating right here so that when I see a comment that I'll want to respond to, then, oh my God, wait, did I? What? Oh gosh. I'm just going to say this really fast. I have this most amazing moderator who, her name's Margie, right? But she is, she's doing this in the background. I just saw my own name come up. I'm like, I didn't type that. And I'm like, so thank you, Margie. That was beautiful. But that's why you can't see anyone else's comments. Um, I see that. Yeah, it was you. Anyway, I think that's it. So that was the point. I'm streaming to 4 things. I'm glad to hear that the audio is better because I was wondering if that's what the problem was. That my computer was just like, I am working so hard. Like the idea that you also want to talk is just kind of ridiculous. Don't make me have to do all these things. So, but I'm having a good time. Having a good time with it. By the way, I'm going to tell you, when I put this thing in, I was I guess afraid, I think is the word I want to use for it. I have not really built like a computer in like 20 some odd years. I mean, easily 20 some odd years. Because I'll buy like laptops or something. So anyway, I bought this one. This is a whole desktop thing. But I'm like, I got to pull out a video card and put in a new video card. So I'm like, I'm going to break something. I know I'm going to break something and I'm going to be upset. And then I'm just going to, moan about it on the live stream tomorrow because I only put it in just yesterday. So anyway, I put it in. It's been a long time since I used that phrase. Anyway, I put the video card in and it worked like first time out of the gate. I was like, what the heck? Say what? And basically I turned it on last night and it's still going now. I haven't turned it off. And it seems to be running really well. So that says to me that I did an exceptional job. Don't get me to fix your computer, but I did an exceptional job on that. So all right, what's another topic? Throw some topic out there. I don't even care what it is. Like something ridiculous. It's 5:30. I should probably okay. Hi, I'm Dr. Amethysta Herrick, and I talk about identity and gender from a scientific standpoint. So I'm taking your topics today as well as your questions. I talked about some feminism too. Here we go. First of all, let's just say this. Yeah, right. It is so transgender coded, isn't it? That you just go, listen, not only am I a programmer, oh, Margie's got new programmer socks, by the way. Not only am I, can I write code and like rebuild a computer, I'm also transgender. And people go, yeah, I mean, of course. Here we go. I'm unsure how much I want to say in this. Any plans for the holidays? So I will just say this. I am not Christian. Yeah, there we go. And so winter solstice is the big thing for me, right? Like I love winter solstice. And I'm sort of surprised. Winter solstice, of course, used to be called midwinter, right? So the summer solstice was midwinter. That's when we had, or midsummer. That's why we have a midsummer night's dream. Anyway, midwinter because it was considered the middle of winter, folks. How about them apples? And so, anyway, I like that because the days only get shorter until midwinter. And so midwinter comes up and I go, oh, this is beautiful because now the days are going to start getting longer. No kidding, no doubt it's still really effing cold. Like I'm not going to joke about that. Going to be cold. We live in Colorado. We're supposed to get some snow tonight. But anyway, there we go. Winter solstice. This was supposed to be my point. I do love it. I like the idea of the sun coming back. I love this idea of a death and a rebirth. A symbolic death and rebirth. The heroic journey is one of the big things for me. You always have a symbolic death and a symbolic rebirth. So the question was, do I have any plans for the holidays? No, but I'm going to enjoy the winter solstice because that's just what I do, because I like it. I am absolutely I will give me 1 sec, Emma. I'm gonna pin that. Toggle pin. Did it do the right one? It did. Margie's gonna visit the biggest nipple in the world for the holidays, like you do. Someday I'll have to come by, and we'll both go. I think this will be great. Oh my gosh. Matt's asking for somebody to help build a function to build transformation matrices for non-Euclidean geometry. Yeah. Also like you too, I think. All right, here we go. So I've got, this is a great question. So Emma asks the question, can we talk about the difference between transgender people and gender fluid people? I think this is a very important distinction. Because I've got, how do I want to put this? As I'm thinking about the content that I make, whether it's writing articles, just looking at people saying, climb that nipple. Anyway, when I'm thinking about the content that I make, and one of the people that I think of when I make content at this point now is gender fluid, and so this is kind of important to me. Gender fluid. So let me start with gender fluid. When I first met a non-binary person, I'll just say this. I said, "How does that work?" And the person goes, "Do you feel like a boy?" And I said, "What? No." And she goes, "Okay. Do you feel like a girl?" And I went, "Yeah." And then she goes, I guess I should say they, because they were non-binary, identified as non-binary after I met them. So they end up saying to me, "Well, I don't feel like a girl, and I don't feel like a boy. What's that mean?" And I went, "Ooh, that's a good question." And suddenly I was like, okay, I get this point. I don't feel, I don't identify with one gender. I do identify with the other gender. But they didn't identify with either. This was a fabulous explanation of what they were going through. So gender fluid, to me, I don't think necessarily means that you don't identify with either gender. At least people I've known who are gender fluid, it's not exactly the same as non-binary, but it's kind of like, look, gender is just kind of a fun thing. I'm going to express what I express what I feel today in my own work. I have, I think about sex and gender, and then what I've just called gender identity. I think I've called it gender expression. Is maybe closer to the truth. I'm trying to remember. I think I call it gender identity. It's been a while since I read my own article. But I think of that as, since I've talked about identity as this confluence, this complex of the physical, the cognitive, the behavioral, the social. All of these things change on a daily basis. Our physicality changes on a daily basis. Our thoughts, the way we feel about ourselves. The social environment changes frequently. You might go to school and you feel great, but then you come home and you go, "Oh, I got parents." The social environment changes. It can change. I mean, all of these things can change over and over and over, multiple times in a day. And if our identity is related to all four of those as a complex, our gender identity can change just as frequently. And so gender fluidity, to me, just means responding to the environment as it changes, responding to how you happen to feel with regard to the environment as it changes. So hopefully you like that, Emma. I don't know. Transgender, at least to me, this is the way that I define it, is that I do strongly identify with a gender, and that's that gender with which I strongly identify is feminine. So it's, I think of myself as a woman, and so that's it. So it has to do with how strongly you identify with a specific gender, and then how strongly you want to express it. So I think it's an excellent question, and I think that's an important. I would say gender fluidity is something that's becoming much more and more important, because I'm seeing people growing up who are just like, what gender? Like, what the hell do I care if I'm wearing pants or a skirt? Who else would care? And I go, thank you, children, for doing that. I can't wait until you get into Congress and stuff. So anyway, hopefully, Emma, that was good. Let me toggle this. Oops, turn that off. Here we go. What else do we have? Oh, here we go. This was something I wanted to show. So Rose Sandberg says she found out that in Sweden, the current treatment regime for transgender women was established in 1972. Okay. I'm going to tell you I didn't know that. 72. And wait a minute. So Sweden. Okay. Well, because I certainly remember by the early 1980s, because that was my little joke there, right? The Swedish Vacation. So yeah, maybe I could have transitioned at 12, 14 years old. I wonder what would have happened if I had. Hey, wait a minute. Matt's saying very suddenly would be able to afford going to New Zealand. Probably be able to afford going to New Jersey. A bit more, but I'm glad to hear that, Matt. I'm glad that very suddenly you're able to afford it. I also figure, so Matt also brings up that he's going to go visit his girlfriend, and she gives him the best cuddles. I bet. Whew. Okay. I do love this. Gender fluid is what I inject in my thigh. I love that. All right, let me see. Wow. Oh, now we're talking about skiing like you do. Do you know when where did I go? Oh, it was when we went to New York. Oh my gosh. When I went to when we moved to New York, upstate New York, right? Um so somebody asked me, we're getting toward winter. We got there in July. Yeah, July. And I see I'm seeing snow fall literally for the first time because I was born and raised in California, in Southern California. I had not seen snow fall. I remember there was snow in 1974, and then we moved to New York in 2002. So it'd been a while. Anyway, I'm looking up. I'm like, wow, look at that. Wow, snow falls from the sky. And somebody walks by and goes, yeah, yeah, you're not from here, are you? And I'm like, nope. Anyway, that person asks me later on, says, so do you like skiing? And I went, do you mean snow skiing or water skiing? It was in the winter in New York. But I'm like, but this is what we have in California. Right? In fact, you can go snow skiing, and then actually, if you're willing to drive like 4 hours, you can go water skiing right afterward on the on the beach. Anyway, the person's like, no snow skiing, and I was like, oh, I've never gone snow skiing actually. So anyway, there's my stupid funny bit there with skiing. I always end up now. I've stopped asking because now I try to get it from context. Are they talking about snow skiing or water skiing? So anyway, oh, look at this. See, so Matt says he would say he's a little gender fluid. There's a lot of feminine things he likes and prefers to make friends with the women. Yeah. And I bet you do look damn good in a sundress. You know, I'm going to say something too, Matt. There's I told you I had like so personas is what they're called. Okay, so one of my personas is gender fluid, so that I can think about how this person would consider content, consider the world, so that I can do stuff that maybe. Anyway, I've got one persona that I was talking about with my friend Sophia, and Sophia says, we need somebody who's like an ally, and you give these personas names. So we've got like Nick, NIC, who's a younger non-binary person, and then Jess is the gender fluid one, 30s or 40, 30 or so, 40, I don't know. Anyway, she goes, we need like an ally. So I said, okay, Joe, sure, I can think of an ally. And she goes, okay, well, what do you want to name it? What do you want to name this persona? And so we start looking through names. We're like, well, what would be a popular name? Somebody around, 50 or so. She goes, I don't know. We've got like, Zinglebert Slapdyback, Ethel Methel Chicken Wire, Matt, Hoochie Woochie. And I went, we'll go back one. So Matt, yes. I was like, we'll do Matt. So Matt, you are a persona in my content strategy. And that person is exactly you. Like when we think of Matt, I'm like, whoa, what would Matt do? In fact, I made a little, a bracelet, WWMD, and I just, what was, okay, well, that was what Matt would do. So I need to get a better topic, huh? Wow, look at this. So now everybody's meeting up in New Zealand. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, I'm going to have to go down to New Zealand. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so Matt's saying it kind of sucks that he can afford it. All right. I'm sorry. Margie does point out she gives some pretty fine cuddles. So if you're in New Zealand, Wellington in particular, hit her up. Vesper is here. Hello, Vesper. Good to see you. Oh, look, I can actually... Oh, my gosh. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was like 2 pages away. I was thinking I wasn't getting any comments. I had just scrolled up. Whoopsie daisies. All right, well, here we go. Somewhere out there is a standing offer. This is from Matt, okay? Somewhere out there is a standing offer I made to wear a slutty maid outfit. He hasn't done it yet, but God has help him, he's going to do it. Oh my gosh, I love that. I kind of want a slutty maid outfit, but I have yet to buy one. Here we go. So I do want to, here's something from Emma. Thank you for following up on that, Emma. So she says she wants to be as feminine as possible on the night. Oh gosh, wait. You have a band playing? Oh man, my band Concord. Okay. Well, their parents won't be there. This is awesome. So yes, you go and fem it up. Ooh, Emma. Gosh, I know. You know what you need? Slutty maid outfit. If you can pull that off, I'd say that's something. But I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad your parents won't be there, and I'm glad you'll be able to express yourself exactly as you want to express yourself. Because I'm not going to kid you, that there is nothing better than being able to express yourself exactly as you are. So I'm wishing you the best on that one. Here we go. Oh, look at this. See, here we go. Almost missed clicking on the thing. So Vesper brings... Oh my gosh, I'm looking at a real picture. Vesper, look at that. So Vesper says she loves being femme. It's her favorite thing. So much. Oh my gosh. I'm very glad that... I'm safe enough, I guess is what I want to say. I'm glad that I'm safe enough to be able to do it, because I know a bunch of people who just aren't. And I mean, like, I know I have mentioned before, I do know sex workers, transgender sex workers in Turkey, where they'll just take you out and shoot you, which, wow, that sucks. I am just... Oh, hang on. Let me first pop this up. Hi, Priscilla T. Rose. Hi. Good to see you. Bounce is in. Oh, there's nothing like a good bounce. I love it. What was the other thing I was gonna... Oh, here we go. Sorry. Okay. So Matt says he's gonna do a drag show someday. Already picked a name, Scarlett O'Hara. It's hard to beat that one. You know, the thing was, I don't think I would call it exactly a drag name, but when I would do drag performances as a graduate student, all I called myself was Selena. So there was no, like, that's all I had. I'm like, I don't know, Selena, whatever. I didn't think you were supposed to have something snazzy. In fact, actually, because everybody else, like, there was me, and I can think of like 2 other people who were just like, yeah, it was like, my name's Jenny, just introduce me as Jenny. And it's like, Perfect. So Selena, that was what I went by because I was I was naming myself after Catwoman. Like you do. This is what the fourth time I've said that now. Like you do. So it's good stuff. Um, Scarlett O'Hara. I have no idea what what this means. I'm expecting a little thing that goes brr, brr, next. I don't know what that means. Oh, that's true. I forgot. Margarita Fancy Pants was initially a drag name. You know what? If I had thought about it, I think Amethysta Selena I would probably have used something like that. So, okay. So here's something. So Vesper brings up. So she's about to transition at her workplace. I can imagine you'd be nervous about that. Um, I'm trying to think of what all I know about you. I'm curious. Is there like a lot of like HR and stuff? Uh, People I've known. Well, I've known basically two sort of what's the word? There's like diametric opposites. One person, she may still be planning this, but she was planning with HR that it's like, okay, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to have a company wide meeting, and it wasn't that big of a company. It was but like thousands of people, two or three thousands of people, let's say. So thousands of people, they're gonna have to get everybody together and go, okay, look at everybody. Here's what we're doing. Okay, here's what's gonna happen. This person is going to transition gender, and that's what this means. And so it was like a absolute crap ton of planning that they're doing it. Now I met her. Oh my god, like 3 years ago. Yeah, I met her about 3 years ago, and almost a little more, 3.5 years ago. It still hasn't happened. Now I don't know if they were exactly, if they had like a date in mind, but they just kept on planning. It was planning and planning and planning. And then there was somebody else. Now I'm trying to remember who it was. Oh, I cannot think who it was. It's somebody we all know, but I will say that one, which sounded like a line from Led Zeppelin or something. But anyway, there's a lady we all know. She she went home on a Friday, came in on a Monday, dressed entirely different, asking for pronouns and different pronouns and name, and apparently walked into work and everybody went, "Yeah, okay." And that was the end. That was the transitioning. No plan, no nothing, just, hey, here's who I am now. And the people went, fine. Like, you're a good worker, let's do it. So I don't know. I do see, where'd you say this? Where did that, wait, where did it go? Oh my goodness. Oh, here we go. So they announced this. So the HR people did say they announced it with an email they had you right. Oh, well, that's good. At the very least, I'm a little concerned though. It is an inpatient psych locked facility. Anyway, there you go. I think that's awesome. I will be interested in hearing how that goes. I will really be interested in how that goes. Um, what in the Oh gosh, actually, I really would love to hear this too. I'm taking a dumb guess on it. So Matt brings up that his girlfriend's name is Minnie, has a great story to her name that he doesn't want to tell in public. Now I really got to hear this, but um, so Priscilla, yeah, I'm doing 4 here. So if you're not seeing all the comments, you know why. What do we got here? I like this too. Rose says so she'll pass on the drag show, but happily participate in a nice bit of burlesque. So you and I are older, right? I say that in the nicest way. I'm older. You're fine. You're just past your 20s, I think. Um, to me, drag was very, very different. It's so different today, and I don't say it's bad. What's going on today, but it is so different. Because I would say that. Oh, I'm sorry, I hit the microphone. I would say that when where was I going with this? Because now I'm looking. Now Priscilla says there's video unavailable. Really? Eesh. Because I don't even know. Is this... No, it's still going. One thing's still going. I don't know. All right. Anyway, going back to it. When I was into it, I would say it was very much like a burlesque show. It wasn't intended to be like, it was kind of supposed to be sort of sexy, sort of, it was supposed to be affirming and anyway, I mean, I don't, sometimes I kind of think I see drag shows now, they feel like a mockery of femininity, which I don't think that's what they're shooting to do. But when I was into it, it was very much, a reverence for the feminine, and so I do sort of struggle a little bit seeing what's going on today. But so anyway, so thank you, Ro. I'll since you threw that up there, I'm gonna respond to it. So, where was this? Oh, here we. Emma, thank you for thank you for this comment. Let me take a quick drink. I have the feeling that I'm getting sick, which doesn't make me happy at all. I mean, nobody goes, "Oh gosh, that's great, I'm getting sick. Woo! Now I'll be able to wipe my nose every 5 minutes." Nobody does that, I know it. Anyway, I think I'm getting sick. So Emma says part of the reason she asked to talk about the difference between being transgender or being gender fluid was that she feels a little gender fluid. I think that's great. Like I said, I think there's, I feel like that's the way the world should be, that we just kind of go, well, gender roles, why is this a thing? Why is this important? So I'd love to see the whole world go down that route. And then asks, says, or doesn't ask, says she hopes she's still welcome. Oh my gosh, of course. Are you kidding me? I think that the gender fluid experience is one of the most important right now, specifically right now. So I am honored that you come here. So Vesper asks a great question, and I do want to give you, where is this one is, yes. Oh my gosh, how do I manage to do this? I'm like 2 pages down again. So Vesper does bring up drag's nice art form, not interested in participating. Where did this go? Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm also, so Matt, I'm not really sure. Okay, so Matt and Sancordia, I'm going to get to you in 1 second. Give me just a moment. I'm pinning these. All right. Vesper says, would I say that gender fluid falls under the transgender umbrella? I got to tell you, I don't even, because now I'm seeing trans plus. And I would really just prefer using the word gender diverse. Because I think gender diverse, in fact, actually, I'm going to go a step further. You'll see I'm not exactly answering your question, Vesper. I would really love just to use the word queer for everything, because it was such a horrible word growing up, and I was called this too. So I would love to use this to solidify that we've reclaimed this word, first of all, but also because I think of queer now at this point, so it covers everything. You've got the lesbians, you've got the bisexuals, you've got the gay, you have transgender, you have people who are just, they're like, I don't know, maybe I'm gender fluid. I'd love to use that because it just covers everything. And it would imply that if you disagree with some social norms, then you're queer. Because that actually makes the queer community, what, half the population? So I wish we could do that. I love the idea of giving things nomenclature. As a scientist, that's one of the hardest tasks in science. We always have crap names for things, right? Sex determining region of the Y chromosome, comes to mind. And so nomenclature is important. And I wish we could get rid of trans umbrella because 2 reasons, and this is going all over the place, but 2 reasons. One is that, if gender and sex are not related, then transgender is sort of a useless word. Because we're not, if they're not related, then they cannot I'm going back to organic chemistry now, but they're not bonded to each other. You know, you don't have a double bond between sex and gender, so you cannot have trans or cis. So it's kind of like, ugh, I would rather just use something that doesn't refer to sex or gender or anything having to do with a transition or anything. So that's my opinion. Went on way too long. So, all right, here we go. Oh no, wait. Did it work? It worked. Okay. Sancordia says they regard themselves as a trans ally, but sometimes they fall down on how to deal with a sports locker room debate. I feel as a cis man, I lose credibility. So, I'm going to tell you, as a transgender woman, I don't have a lot of credibility either. There was somebody who's been in my comments recently and said, hey, I think that males should stay out of female-only spaces. You know, we need single-sex spaces. And I am going to say I think that single-sex spaces are... I think that having spaces where you feel absolutely safe is important. And the reason why it's so important is because so many people don't feel safe. So having spaces where you can absolutely feel safe is important. Sorry, I'm running through some of the comments in my head because the big thing that this person said was, I need I need a female only space, is what she said, because I don't want to look at male parts while I get changed at the gym, and I don't want people looking at me while I change at the gym. So it's really great, you know, I have yet to have any more conversation with this person, but it's like, well, what about lesbians? Because what is it that you're concerned about? I even brought up, I said, I think what you're concerned about is that you don't feel safe. And we don't feel safe. Many people don't feel safe because rich white men prey on the rest of us. I won't think I would have said that maybe a year ago, but like looking at what's happening, especially with all the stuff with the Epstein files, rich white men prey on us, on the rest of us. And so what we need to do is address why people feel unsafe, which is to say hold all men accountable, because you don't have to be rich in order to sexually abuse somebody. 3 out of 4 abuses are domestic. They occur in the home. They don't occur in locker rooms or bathrooms. So we need to address, first of all, why people don't feel safe. Anyway, to wrap this up slightly, she did come back and say, you know, whether or not women get attacked is irrelevant. And I was like, okay, it's not irrelevant to me that women are getting attacked. And so this is, I don't know if that conversation ended or not. So Sancordia, you know, my advice here, I think really what we look at for the most part is safety and a sense of safety. The gym, I think that's the big one, that people feel safe. I'll also, as far as the sports debate, I think it's really ironic that, I'm not coming up with her name. Riley Gaines, was that her name? Riley Gaines has now like built a whole fucking career out of dumping on transgender women because she tied for 5th place with a transgender woman, Leah Thomas. 5th place. She tied. It's not that she was, you know, it was a swim meet. It's not that she was like blown out of the water. Like Leah Thomas was, you know, a minute ahead of everybody, and everybody, oh my God, yeah, she really killed us, right? No, Leah Thomas was 5th place. 5. By a decent amount, many seconds. Anyways, Riley Gaines ties. And so it's kind of like, well, what are we trying to do here? Because we don't have transgender women dominating sports. And if people go, listen, I don't want people to dominate, transgender women to dominate sports, because we don't. As soon as testosterone goes away, you lose muscle mass. Your biochemistry changes. This is the way biochemistry works. It does really, really follow a dominant sex hormone. Your biochemistry changes. You lose muscle mass. You know, you change in so many other ways. Because before I transitioned, I was a runner. Okay, And then once I started transition, I suddenly had like, added a minute per mile to my running. And anyway, so I think for both of these, we really want to ask what the question is. I think there are people like, well, males are not the same as females. And the answer to this big question is when you change the dominant sex hormone, the biochemistry changes. And yes, they are the same. It is the same. Especially now at this point, now I have no little testosterone engines. So I am essentially the same biochemically. The only difference at this point is that I've got a Y chromosome, and I also don't have little estrogen engines, so I've got to inject my, what was the gender fluid? Is that what you called it? Yeah. Anyway, St. Cordy, I hope that worked. I hope that was good. Oh no, where did it go? Okay, there we go. Here's another one. So Matt, I'm so sorry. I wish I understood what this says. Matt I don't know. Anyway, Matt says, Matt identifies as trans non-binary, but can look pretty much the same. But I look pretty much the same and haven't gotten any surgeries or anything. How can I feel more secure in my trans identity while being non-binary? Oh my gosh. Wow, that's a beautiful question. I wish I had gone, I don't know how old this is. Oh, it's like 10 minutes old. Matt, I hope you are still here because this is beautiful. Thank you so much for this question. I don't know that I have a lot of tips. What I would say here, if you feel comfortable, I would say that's good. When you start thinking, so when you, I'm going to project just a little bit here. When I think of my own security, it's how do I appear in the eyes of other people? And I don't know if this is exactly true for you, but I will say that at this point, I'm not concerned how I appear in the eyes of other people. It was either make myself feel comfortable or literally just go, shuffle off this mortal coil as Hamlet put it. Because I'm going to tell you, it is not nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Absolutely. Take up arms against, oh, I'm screwing up the quote. Shoot. Take up arms against something. And in opposing, end them. End them. I say that when you feel comfortable, that's when the security, that's when I would hope you would feel secure. So I hope that went anywhere for you. I think what I'm trying to say is what we really should be looking for here is not that people accept you the way you want to be, but that you accept yourself and you feel comfortable as that. I hope that was good. I feel like that was kind of weak. Hope it wasn't too weak. What else do we have here? Oh my gosh. Oh geez, I'm way behind. Priscilla brings back up drag, and thank you so much. So it says that many different drags. First she ever saw was an Asian lady in this Seattle gay parade. And oh my gosh, she was gorgeous. Yeah. I will tell. So then she says she fell in love, learned about RuPaul. And then because Supermodel had just come out. Agreed. I mean, I remember looking at RuPaul and going, oh, this is the best. I love this. Here's somebody who's able to express gender in so many different ways. I love it. I guess, I feel like now drag has turned into, well, let's not really express any particular gender. It's become a performance, which is awesome. I think that's good because it's become very mainstream for what it's worth. And I guess I just feel that to me, who I am is not a performance. Part of why I don't like Judith Butler's performative theory. But so anyway, thank you for that. I got to start moving through some comments here because I'm way behind. Rose says, when she transitioned 3 years ago, it was very public. Okay, so that's good. I mean, I think this is a great story. So Vesper, hopefully that helped at all. Although it was like 5 minutes ago. It was like 10 minutes ago. It was a long time ago. Okay, good. Gender diverse. I think that's a great phrase. And I also love this too. Gender slushy. This is Margie's gender slushy. All right, what else do we have? Um, okay, so Sancordia, another good one. Oh my God, still 10 minutes behind. I gotta plow through some of these. Sancordia says he'd really like social norms to become redundant. Yeah, and because I think that's true. If social norms become redundant, or at least not seen as laws, then yeah, the word queer would absolutely be obviated. Because I like this, kind of like how nobody bats an eyelid at women wearing trousers now. I think that's awesome because that's what I would love to see. I would love to see a world like that, which is why, Emma, why I think the gender fluid experience is so absolutely important. So there you go. Thank you, Sancordia, for bringing that up. Gosh, there's always. I'll keep calling you Emma then, but don't call me dude. It reminds me of when I was 12. It's fine. You can call me what you want to. Look, this is interesting. So now Rose says, so you stood in front of each team and introduced the new me to everyone. I love that. By then, my sense of smell had improved a lot. Didn't that happen with estrogen therapy? Biochemistry changes. It absolutely biochemistry changes. Because my smell changed too. Anyway, Ro goes on to say that her sense of smell had improved, and so she said that the smell was only one reason she wanted out of the male locker room. Yeah. That's so funny. Oh, I got an internal error. I don't know, something popped up with an internal error. I wonder why. Things are still running. Who cares? Let me see. What else do we have? Where is some of this? Okay, so Emma. Yeah, Emma's a great name. Emma, by the way, have you read... Oh, gosh. What the hell's her name? The book Emma. Who wrote that? Jane Austen. Because Emma in Jane Austen is... by Jane Austen is amazing. Totally need to read that book. Where do we got? Don't fit in with hetero people. Oh, hey, look, I'm almost close. Well, I will. So, so Vesper says, she wouldn't have minded, she feels like the tie for fifth place. Problem is an equivalent to, participation trophy. I feel almost like, you when you're like bitching and moaning about fifth place, you're like, listen, I just need somebody to look at me and to tell me I'm cute, which is 100%. There was an article that I know I brought up, but there was an article about how Riley Gaines is being used exactly like the final girl in horror films, because she's like, she wants to look all innocent and cute, and yet she does then go after people with a knife, and everything's fine. But so I kind of like the the participation trophy bit. What else do we have? Oh, this is interesting. Thank you, Matt, for bringing this up. So, Matt, I'm just going to read this. Matt says the U.S. Army Transgender Survey in 2015, so this is, a decade ago, first of all, included a component studying trans soldiers' fitness. Generally speaking, trans femme soldiers performed on par with cis femme soldiers, and trans mask soldiers with cis mask soldiers. Yes. Because our frickin', because the biochemistry changes. So, and Priscilla brings this up. There you go. See, thank you for the info. We need it in the debate against MAGA that complain about transgender people in sports. So Priscilla says, so MTFs are visible. Do we have any brave FTMs beating the competition in sports? I don't believe so. But I don't believe we have a lot of MTFs that are beating all the competition in sports. So... there you go. How many more Matts did we have? Sorry, there was the other Matt. Sorry. I totally forgot. I love this. Emma says she loves how she feels like family in here. Oh, and Emma, tell me if you want me to change pronouns, if you want me to use they, thems at all. But Um, oh wow, where did that go? Here we go. This did it come up? Oh man, let's go. Oh, I'm clicking on things and it's flying around. So Margie says chosen family is true family. It's we did Thanksgiving last week, right? As Thanksgiving as we get, which is not much. And I had my friend Krista over, and that was it. We made so my wife made dal makhani, which is a bean dish, Indian bean dish, over rice. Krista brought like a casserole. What else did we make? Like some cranberry sauce. It was just like, listen, this is beautiful. We all got to hang out and feel better about ourselves because we weren't with people who were conceivably tearing us down, not giving us not respecting the identity of who we are. So there we go. I think chosen family is absolutely the true family. Oops, did I get it? Yeah. All right, so now Em asks the question, has anybody ever looked, I'm going to say it like this, look like a girl before they transitioned? Absolutely. When I was when I was a graduate student, so first of all, my hair was waist length, which I've brought up several times, but absolutely, you know, people would see me and they're like, well, that's a girl, right? Not to mention, I have always had sort of like wider hips and like curvier butt. I can't believe I'm saying this. Leela's here. Hello, Leela. Anyway, point being that people would see me from behind and say, what can I do for you, ma'am? And I'd turn around and go, oh, I'm a man. And they'd go, oh, well, sorry. You have lovely hair. It was, I know, right? So anyway, the point is I did, and it was funny because I always loved it when it happened. Somebody would go, hey, ladies, I'd be like, yeah. Another thing too, and this is way different from what we're talking about, but Hungarian doesn't have gendered pronouns. It's all it, essentially. Let's call it like that. And so my mother-in-law struggles. She was born in Hungary. I should probably have said that. Kitty Rebellion. There we go. Hi, Kitty. Anyway, so when she has referred to me, she would sometimes, she mixes up he and she because it's not obvious. It was not obvious to her because she's not used to gendered pronouns. And I was kind of like, anytime it happened, I was like, yeah, that's right. I mentioned that to her, and she was kind of like, oh, are you making fun of me for not knowing English very well? And I'm like, what? No. All right, here we go. Oh, Priscilla. Priscilla says she had PCOS, so she manages to look like no one could tell if I was MTF or FTM when I forgot to wax my beard. Yeah. Lesson, don't shave face hair. Turns peach fuzz into guard hair. Is that true? I was never sure if that was entirely true. I don't know. Oh boy. So Margie says in her first 6 months, when she was in her gender fucky period, are we doing the what's her name? Ashley? No, what is her name? From Canada, the lawyer. I can't think of her name. Anyway, I always send comments back to her on Blue Sky. But anyway, so yeah, when Margie says that she was keeping a beard, and then as soon as the egg broke, shaved it clean that night. Yeah. Here we go. So sorry. So Matt says there are FTM athletes, but trans men are not the focus of the bigots. Yeah, they do get a pass. And I'm going to bring it up again because I happen to love this particular it's not really an analogy, but I truly believe that FTMs do not get any flack because turning into a man's fine. When you're masculine, That is the best thing of all times. When you are feminine, that's the worst thing of all times. This is why we need feminism, which is why I had to do the thing on Sunday. But so if you're transitioning to present as a man, I think they think it's fine. They're like, whatever. I guess welcome to the thing. Tell you what, if you get rich enough, you also can prey on the rest of the people. So I think that's the main thing. When you go away from it, when you go, hey, I don't think that being masculine is the best thing of all times. I think that's why they get upset. They go, hey, we need you to believe this, because if you don't, how are we going to maintain this patriarchy? It's going to suck. So, anyway, I think this is true. Vesper says, let's be real. If an FTM for transgender man beats the competition in sports, it would be buried. Oh, it would be so buried, wouldn't it? They'd be like, oh, dang. Because everybody in that competition would be like, did I get beat by a girl? Oh my God, I got beat by a girl. Sucks. But I think that's true. I think that's true. Oh, look, Emma says, okay, so Emma says she got the name Emma from an anime called Promise of Neverland. I didn't know that one. I'll have to look it up. But then she says she was told she had the same personality as the main character named Emma. That's lovely. I like that. Here we go. What else do we have? So Matt says when he was a teen, before he grew his first beard. First beard? Like, have you had multiple ones? I guess I don't know. Matt was told he looked feminine a lot. This is great too, because now I'm gonna throw so Vesper says, her genes were not that nice to her. It happens. Oh, Leela, thank you for calling me beautiful. Is it you and your wife today? Matt says years after he had a beard and a baritone voice, he had long hair. Guy called him baby and asked for his number. I think that's great. What sucks is that he changed his mind about wanting your number. What the hell? There you go. Oh, what? Sancordia, so totally true. I forgot about that. Clueless is based on the book Emma. There was I'm so going to sound like a dork, but there was a really good audio book. I think it was actually done by Audible. I don't know. But it's of Emma, and believe it or not, it has Emma Thompson not playing Emma. So there's some comedy in that. But it was actually really, really well done. The person who plays Emma and then the person who plays the love interest, I can't for the life of me, I'm forgetting the dude's name. Anyway, both of them did really, really phenomenal jobs. And I think it was something just that Audible did, which is kind of a surprise because, they do like a streaming kind of company. Might be owned by Amazon. I can't remember. Oh no! Wait, you missed your last hair removal session. So Priscilla missed her last hair removal session because she broke her leg. I'm sorry. I hope it's okay. Oh, so here we go. So Rose says had to delay finishing the electrolysis treatment due to life events. God, electrolysis sucks. There's somebody who's really good in... Oh, thank you, Vesper. Audible is done by Amazon. The electrolysis sucks so much. There's a good place who's close to me, but it's like an hour drive. You grew up in Los Angeles, like an hour drive. You go, that's pretty close. Yeah, now is it an hour? Hour is fine. We'll do that for lunch. Take a 3-hour lunch. You just drive there, eat, come home. What the hell was I talking about? Oh, yeah. There's a good electrolysis person way down, an hour away. But it's like an hour, right? And so I get there. So I'm driving an hour for the sake of somebody plucking crap out of my face. So awful. Just so bad. And then I have to drive home. I'm like, well, thank you. I have to say, thank you very much. Pay her and then drive home. So anyway, we're like, hey, how much did these instruments cost? And it turns out they're only like 8 or 10 grand, which I get, 8 or 10 grand. It's not the kind of thing you're going to go like, oh, well, now I'll just do this on my own. So of course you're not going to. But we're almost thinking, we're like, well, maybe we should set somebody up. Like, I don't want to do this. My wife doesn't want to do this. But if we found somebody else who wants to do it, I mean, then I still have to get electrolysis, which will still suck. Don't misunderstand me, but there you go. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Is this so? Is this true? So Rose says she's heard of a very successful, so transgender man MMA fighter. I didn't know that. Beat that. Um, Matt says he's got about 30 beards, and one of them is Chuck Norris's, who lost his right to his beard when he became MAGA. I think that's true. I think that's true. Oh my gosh. I have there's a whole lot of wait, is Chuck dead? Wait, did Chuck Norris die? Priscilla, is Chuck dead? Or is it just that because he's MAGA, we don't talk about him anymore? I'm gonna let it go. Um, there was one I missed. Where was the something I was gonna pop up? Oh, here we go. So Leela, first of all, says that so her wife's downstairs relaxing. So turned in the comp exam for her doctorate. Well done. So I don't know I can't remember what your wife's working on. When I had to, so when I did this, so you went through a couple of years. So this was chemistry. Sorry, in chemistry it was 2 years worth of classes, and then you did research for 2 years, wrote a dissertation. In between were something called the orals exam. And so we always were we were at your seconds and third years, we're always talking about orals. I'm going to tell you, I was always like, orals, the oral exam, huh? What am I going to have to do? Like, I was fine, right? Because by that time I'm like, hey, everybody, I'm bisexual. And everybody went, ooh, get away from me. I would just have to imagine one of those people who went, ooh, get away from me, was like, ooh, oral exam, what am I going to have to do? Do I have to, what happens? Anyway, I'm sorry. Way off topic. Moving on. So Scott Harkins, here we go, thank you. I don't know why I'm thanking myself. So Scott brings up, so Scott says his son goes around bearded with a bust. Oh, I know who it was. So I have my friend Sarah. Sarah's been on the show. Everybody knows Sarah here. Oh gosh, Leela says her wife is working on AI and machine learning. Wow, go her. Anyway, Sarah also has a son who's bearded, and apparently he's fairly busty. But Scott says that his son gets stares and sometimes insults, which sucks. And then Scott says his husband's had top surgery and passes. I think it can make a huge difference. Yes, such a huge difference. I think I'm trying to figure out how much I wanted to go into that. There are very minor things sometimes that will make such a huge difference. Getting a haircut. If you're transmasc, you go, I got to get rid of this hair, right? There are some things that can make such a huge difference in people's lives. And we kind of go, oh no, you shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to get a haircut. You shouldn't be able to let your hair grow, wear eyeliner. I don't even care. Like, it can make a huge, huge difference, and we should absolutely let people do these things. That your son gets stares and insults for being who he is? Ridiculous. I don't know if that was even visible. I saw myself in the screen and went, well, you probably can't see that, but that's fine. I have no idea why Matt's being threatened with bites, but I've just got to pop that up so that everybody can see it, right? All right, what else do we have? Oh, look. Oh, I got to the bottom. Sorry, I have the screen here. All right, here we go. So Emma says, no disrespect. Can we get on the topics of how trans women can be A nothing, but it's frowned upon. Yes, for boys or men. So I don't know what is that's so difficult or so different. Um, Honestly, I think ultimately all it is, I think honestly all it is because born, if you're assigned male at birth, you're supposed to be superior. And if you're going to give up on that superiority, that's wrong. I disagree with this, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have transitioned gender. But I think that's a huge aspect of it. Um, you know, transgender men, they nobody cares, because they're going toward the supposedly superior side. And if you look at it that way, if you just look at it from the like the American dream kind of way, where it's like, oh well, we're all supposed to always to grow to get better. A woman transitioning to present as a man is along those lines, right? He's getting better. He's going from being one of the weaker type of people in life to the better. And if you are going the opposite direction, if you're like, well, look, I'm a boy, but people think I'm a boy, but I'm actually a girl. People go, ooh, no, because you're not getting better. What you're doing is getting worse, supposedly. And here we go. Yes, Vesper says it so well. They're moving to the winning side. And here we go. Matt says, stupid patriarchy, screwing everything up for all of us. It's so stupidly true. That's what bugs me. Hey, sigh. And here we go. Now that I've said all of that, Emma, here we go. I think this is beautiful. Priscilla says transgender women are the strongest women she knows. I'm not going to. I have no idea if more womanly than Priscilla, but yes, some of the strongest women, and not physically, not because you're assigned male at birth, because I've never had upper body strength to save my life. My legs were always really strong. I don't know why, but here's my point. Okay, Leela, so you're gonna go and have to make dinner. Good seeing you. Bye, Leela. But I think it's true. You have to be super strong in order to transition gender, to be a transgender woman, or even just to tell anybody to identify as one. I do like this. Priscilla also brings out no more about most women topics as well. I think that's true. I think that's true. Because I think oftentimes, we end up, we're like, oh my gosh, I would so love to be able, because it was always big for me to have hair and eyes. Hair and eyes are huge for me. So I was like, let me learn everything I can about hair and hair dye. And then, eyeliner, how do you put on eyeliner? I have talked to people who are like, why do you know this much about makeup? And I'm like, because I love makeup. Makeup is awesome. Where was I going? I think that was, I'm just going to pop this up. Oh gosh. So Matt was in a live months ago and some bigot was trying to be a tough guy to him. A friend hopped in and immediately spouting Matt facts. Like Chuck Norris facts, but cooler. Oh, I wish I could have seen that. That's hilarious. Totally agree. Electrolysis is torture you will pay dearly for. I think that's what bugs me so much is that the worst part is that it doesn't always work. Right? So they'll pull it out once and you're like, woo, done with that one. No, you're not necessarily, unless they did a really good job. So, I don't know. Oh, okay. Thank you, Emma. So still she her. Thank you. Appreciate that. Oh, I'm trying to move. Yeah. So Vesper, I want to say I think you told me. Ro, I'm going to get to your next one too. Vesper, I feel like you told me. Do you have some conceivable intersex characteristic? Didn't you say? Twig arms and strong legs that maybe you didn't have a lot of testosterone? Comment below. I'll find out. So here we go. Ro brings up a misogynist manager drove me out of my previous job. Took me months to settle the legal issues and drama. I don't know if there's anything. I don't know if there's anything more. What's the word I'm looking for? More damaging. Ultimately, than toxic masculinity. You're saying misogynist manager. I truly feel like that's only one aspect of toxic masculinity, but I think that's a really big aspect of it. The ability just to go, you know what? Anybody who's not like this alpha male sucks. I think that's ridiculous. So anyway, here's my point. I'm sorry that happened to you. What's interesting, it's fascinating. I've heard the statement, people don't leave jobs, they leave managers. I think it's totally true. Um, if you have a great manager, I think a crap job gets a lot better. Well, because you're going to have a manager who goes, you know what, you think this is a crap job? Let's fix that. So there you go. Um, uh, you know, I'm going to tell you, it's only 6:36. I hope I don't jinx. I hope I don't. How come I cannot say this? I hope I do not jinx this. Let me try it again. I hope I do not jinx this. There we go. All right, I fell right out that time. I was having a hard time saying it. Anyway, hope I don't jinx it, but I'm really fascinated. We're on 4 different platforms here, including a vertical, like where people could be scrolling through. I am stunned that we have not had a bunch of shitbags. Hey, wait a minute. Actually, have we had a bunch of shitbags? And Matt and Margie have just been cleaning them up? Because now they don't show up in this thing. They used to show up in the other one. So I still had to look at them. If you've cleaned them up, thank you, everybody. You guys are great. What do we got? Oh, this is nice. I like. So you have high schoolers too. So you hang out with some high schoolers, and when Emma says, "Please use this name," they did. I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. Oh, here we go. Oh, you're right. Okay, so now Rose says it's funny that this misogynist manager became misogynist, um, because he only started to treat her badly once she transitioned. It is obvious, and yeah, I can imagine you would be stunned. But here's the thing. I'm gonna have to pop something else after this, but I think a lot of us end up like getting that as soon as we start looking more feminine. You know what? We don't even have to look more feminine. When we just go expressing ourselves in a bit more of a feminine way, we will get people who will go, "Oh well, you must be inferior to me." I know I've told the story over and over, but the whole thing about, "Oh, let me tell you what a tire is." I'm like, "Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm so glad." I would have no idea what a tire was, right? I've only rebuilt a 4-barrel carburetor from a 1959 Ford. I do appreciate. I did, press new bushings into the A-arm on the same 59 Ford. So I do appreciate you telling me what a tire is. So, I still find this fascinating. Margie says she's always been surprisingly strong, and after transition had essentially no muscle wasting, so now she's absurdly strong. I don't know how that, I don't know how that works. I mean, but run with it, I guess. I'm not going to say don't do it. Um, anyway, here we go. So thank you, Vesper. Vesper says she was very overweight, led to low testosterone and some gynecomastia. Okay, so thank you. I knew there was something, but I love this. Really, so here's a Matt fact. Matt fact. Trump took out a restraining order on Matt, so Matt just sighed at the judge and he immediately tore it up. I think that makes sense. Um, okay, here we go. This is the other one that I wanted to pop up. I always wondered this too. So Priscilla, someday I got to see a closer picture of you, Ro, because I've got to see it. Anyway, so Priscilla took a screenshot and then zoomed in on her picture, and then says that Ro looks like a snow pixie. I agree. looking at that picture with the way your hair looks is so absolutely Snow Pixie. So Priscilla goes on to say that Ro would be perfect for Christmas, for giving Christmas cocoa to kids. I think that would be great, especially if you're not too tall, like if you're relatively short. I think it would be great. It would be the best Christmas memory, as Priscilla says. Here's another one too. I love this one too. Gender affirming misogyny. Yeah. Euphoria. I crack up about that. Here, Matt's got a great point. It's weird how the guys who claim that transgender women are men are always so misogynistic toward transgender women. If we're supposed to be men, why is it that you're totally misogynistic? Because that would imply. Anyway, don't even. Who knows? Good point. Yeah, girls can press bushings, and for what it's worth, I had like a press, right? Like I went to it was the University of Georgia machine shop. Lewis, that was the name of the guy. There was a dude who could make anything. He was a machinist in the machine shop at University of Georgia. Was it only for the chemistry department? I don't really know. It doesn't make a difference either. He could make everything. He helped me do the little bushing thing. I remember I brought the thing in. And I'm like, would I be able to push? Can I put bushings in this? And he's like, heck yeah, give me the thing. Anyway, here we go. Vesper says, real talk. She blew a tire, and her best friend very valiantly called her a princess and replaced it. I'm not going to kid you. When that does happen, there have been times, right, when I'm holding bags or something. So, oh, let me hold the door for you or something. I'm like, thank you. Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you so much. I'd give you a tip, but both my hands are full. And here's, lift with your legs, not with your back. Okay, bye. I love that. Where did this go? Oh, here we go. This is a good question. So Scott asks, does some dude saying little lady come across as an asshole or oh my or both? I think it would depend on the context. I don't think I've gotten little lady, but I'm not the smallest girl out there. I'm a little chunky and curvy. So I don't know. When I have gotten, I'm trying to think of like the most misogynistic sounding thing that I've gotten. I don't know. I've only gotten, I did get Miss once, which I was just like, I think it was kind of from behind. And maybe somebody goes, well, there's no 55-year-old person who's going to have purple hair. But I remember turning around and I'm like, you are not talking to me, right? Miss? What? So, I don't know. I appreciated that. But I also appreciate, pretty much anybody who calls me ma'am. I always want to tell them, I always want to tell them, hey, thank you so much. But if I do, then I've just outed myself, right? So if they were just saying ma'am because they go, well, sure. Like I don't want him to go, oh, thank you, ma'am. And then I go, oh, thank you for calling me that. Nobody, people don't. And then have him go, well, then I rescind it. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. Yeah, so Vesper fell in love with him right then and there, right? As you should, princess. Snow Pixie at 188 centimeters. Okay, I mean, just get a slightly longer dress. I think that'd still work, really. You could put the kids on chairs. Like have them stand on chairs, right? Oh, here we go. So Matt says he frequently uses hun and has never gotten a complaint. That shit I love. I'm just going to throw that right out. Absolutely, when somebody says, are you doing okay over there, honey? I'm like, me? Oh, sure. I went to a Mexican restaurant. This was actually in San Francisco. I loved this because the server comes up to me and says, what do you want, mommy? And I was like, did you really just call me mommy? I was like, wow, I love that. I didn't quite get mamacita, but I did get mommy, and I was like, I just adore you. Where was that one? Oh, here we go. Mansplaining is a real thing. Totally true. I have a diploma in engineering, but now I get blokes explaining the most simple things to me like I know nothing. Sometimes I crack up about that. I don't know. Sometimes that one time with the tire, oh, I leaned into it. Absolutely. Oh, see, so look, Sarah's here, by the way. Where was that? Where did I see her? Oh, here we go. I'm going to come right back to it, but look, here's Sarah. Oh, look, there's Sarah with her same picture where she's holding pie tins, by the way. I don't know where Sweater Fan is, but hi, Sarah. Right, Mommy? Doesn't that work? Oh, I love it. What was the one that I was just popping up? Oh, here we go. Yeah, explaining the most simple things like you know nothing. I get a really big kick out of that at this point. I mean, ultimately, I leaned into that. The guy's like, well, this right here is called a tire. And I'm like, oh, a tire. What does a tire do? He said, well, it gives you traction on the road. Traction. Oh, I must have traction. He said, oh, you must have traction. I know. What happens if I don't have traction? Oh, well, you'll slip off the road. I can't slip off the road. That would be awful. What if I was buying groceries for my children so that I could go home and make dinner? He goes, yeah, that would really be awful. We're going to have to make sure that you have adequate tractions. We do. We really do. This is why I look to you. Thank you so much. And the funny thing was, he was like 70s, probably 70s. I'm doing this like I'm looking up at him, but I was totally not because he was like this tall to me. So I'm like looking down at the guy just going, uh-huh, really? A tire? Anyway, I actually kind of kind of appreciate that, but I don't even know. I don't even know. So, let me see. What else do I have? They can be baby pixies in training. See, and you can be the Queen Snow. Oh, the Queen Snow Butterfly Fairy. Yeah, girls can make it happen. You get the crown, you get the wings. Oh my gosh, I would contribute to this. I totally want to see you with wings. There you go. I love this. Oh, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. So Matt says he used to use doll universally. And I'm going to tell you, because doll was a big thing in, I didn't hang out with like the LA, what are they called? Like the rockabilly people, psychobilly, I think it was closer. But I didn't hang out with them a whole lot. But when I did, like doll was a big, huge thing. And I was like, oh, I wish I could be called doll. But now, right, doll now means transgender woman, and I was kind of like, oh, well, that's a bummer. Now don't call me doll. But yes, see, here we go. Oh gosh, here was a fascinating thing, by the way. I was talking to somebody yesterday. It does make a difference who it is. I mean, it kind of does, but this is not for this story. When I was talking to her, I really, so how do I put this? I came out to her because we were having, and it's not a big deal. Anyway, I wanted her to know specifically, like, you know, who I am. Because we're considering a professional relationship. I'm going to be done here. Anyway, so I came out to her. Later on, we're talking about, it was 20 minutes later or something. Somehow I do know what it was too. We were talking about Genesis. And I said, like, not the band. Not like, you know, Phil Collins or Peter Gabriel, but we were talking about the book of Genesis, in particular, being booted out of the Garden of Eden. And I said, yeah, I mean, because, you know, because what happened, they get booted out of the Garden of Eden, and then you have painful birth, I guess, is one of the big things, which doesn't sound very, Like, that's not very equitable now, is it? Right? Painful birth. Adam has to kind of like stand by and go, God, that's really loud. Can you tone it down a bit? That's really loud. But Eve has to deal with this now for this painful birth. Anyway, this lady says, I told you I'd get to the point. This lady says, she goes, I don't remember exactly what it was, but she said something about we. She says, yeah, I know. See, that's what we get. And they get everything something else. And I'm like, was I actually just included in a statement having to do with painful birth? Now, don't misunderstand me. I don't want to have a painful birth. But to have been included in that, boy, that was a really long story to go nowhere. My apologies. But there you are. I would totally understand. You'd have to be pulled aside to squeal privately. Thank you so much for the gift, by the way, Vesper. Yeah, everybody loves that cute pink outfit. What did it say on that? I don't know if you're still here, Sarah, but I think it said Brat on it. It was in like the Barbie font. It was a really sweet outfit. I probably have a picture somewhere, but I don't know how to show it very easily. Vesper brings, okay, I mean, did it say daddy on it? Okay, sorry, it said daddy on it. You had one that said brat, I thought, but where was the thing? Here we go. Yeah, so Vesper brings up, I casually do talk about creation myths. It's normal conversation. 100%. Should you do it? Do I need to do it again? Yeah, like you do. We were talking about creation myths, like you do. There was a beautiful story. I was talking about the story of Blodeuwedd to Blodeuwedd. This is in Welsh mythology. And I brought it up to Sophia again, because this is the only person I really talked to today. But I brought it up, and Sophia said, oh, kind of like Lilith. And I was like, yeah. I was like, wow, it's not frequently that I'll have a conversation with somebody who will bring in like more obscure mythology. So I think that was pretty cool. Look at this. Angela says when she's working with her employee, they think she's her mother. I think actually that would totally be a compliment. So, what else do we have? Let me see. Oh, here's Miranda's. Here we go. I knew I saw Miranda was here. Which, by the way, hi, Miranda. So Miranda says she had a slow leak in a tire and had to stop 3 times to fill it. Oh, you were wearing a skirt. And every time a nice man in a pickup truck stopped to help. Oh my gosh. I'm going to tell you, I think that's awesome. I would love that. So Miranda goes on to say she was driving a car whose engine she had built. Chances are pretty good she could put air in the tire. I love that. I don't know where this came from. Don't eat your friends. But if your friend's tasty. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. First of all, I wanted this. I gotta show this. Here we go. Sarah says she's not surprised she included me in a birth scenario since my energy is so feminine. Thank you, Sarah. I love you so much. I gotta call you. Okay. I will tell you, I don't know that I've had a lot of conversations about Orpheus and Eurydice, but, look at you. In a group therapy the other day. Like, that's pretty good. As soon as you're able to bring up, more obscure myths, that's pretty awesome. I do love this. I just want to pop this up. That story where an old white guy kept a couple of naked kids in a walled garden, but then set them up with a mouthy serpent who was only a few days old and then blamed him. Yeah. There was a beautiful... I was having this conversation with this... So it turns out she's Christian. That was why I came out to her. Because I was like, I just want to tell you this. And she was like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Whatever. But I said, isn't it fascinating that, until they actually ate from that tree of knowledge, and this came from something else, by the way. So it came from something else. I don't remember how we got on it, but I said, it's fascinating that you have a story that says you should be punished for not knowing for literally not knowing, not being able to know whether you should follow the commands that God gives you. Anyway, this Christian was like, right? And I was like, there you go. Cool. I think you and I are going to be friends. So there you go. Let's see. Oh, you were talking about trust and anxiety, Vesper says. So, okay, Orpheus. And here we go. So Priscilla says, yeah, careful what you say or what ideas that you give her. Because her ex told her you can pick your nose and you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your friend's nose. And so then she stuck her finger in his nose. So, we have the best conversation, This is the best. Oh, thank you. Oh. Maybe it does say daddy. I mean, I'll trust you because it's your dress, but this is another excellent point. So Vesper says Lucifer, in fact, did not have free will. Right. The angels were different. He was an archangel, I think, right? But they were different from God, which is partly why some of the angels, and at least some of these stories, they resent humans. They're like, I live in frickin' heaven and you're down here with things that I can't do. That sucks. Not to mention, at least in some of these stories, angels have no genitalia. They have no ability to experience pleasure, I think, or pain. I don't remember exactly, but it's like, wow, how much would it suck to be an angel? Like you have to go through, I was going to say your whole life, but no, it's like frickin' eternity. You've got to get the whole time just like, oh my gosh, I bet you that would be fun, right? You'd be looking at somebody, two people, like boinking, right? I almost did the gesture. That will get me spanned so fast, wouldn't it? What was I talking about? Oh, anyway, I can just imagine angels. They're like floating around because this is apparently what God does, right? He just continues to peek into other people's bedrooms. Who are they having? Okay, that one looks okay. That one looks bad. It's two men. We'll have to, put them on the bad list. They get coal for Christmas. I think that's what God does. Anyway, can you imagine? That's all you got. Like you're an angel. That's it. So all you can do is watch other people and go, I wish I could be part of that. Anyway, it sucked to be an angel. I don't know how to turn this off now. St. Cordia says, thanks for expanding my horizons. You got it. Good point. I think I'm so close to 7 o'clock. I'm really certain. I think I'm really getting sick. So I'm like running on fumes and I'm just like, if I stop, there's no way that I'm going to get going again. So, so Scott says, sounds like challenge accepted. Might be the last time you pick their nose. I think it'd be the last time that person says it too. That person, if you're not going to say that to somebody else, you're going to go, you can pick, I don't know, that last time actually I ended up with it was bleeding. So I don't, you know what, actually feel free to pick your friend's nose, I suppose. No, get away from me. This is activating my has-been hotel hyper-focus. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, I would. Yeah, so Priscilla, some think Lucifer helped humans. Right? I mean, you would make some sense, really. And here's the thing, too. Like, ultimately, when it comes down to it, like, what really defines the human experience... And I'm going to tell you, this is, I'm going off on a big stupid tangent here, but what really defines the human experience, at least to me, is our ability to make choices. I mean, it's pretty basic there, but our ability to go, you know what, this probably is a bad idea. I'm going to do it. You know the difference between good and evil, and sometimes you go, evil won out. I've totally got to do this. I think this will be a lot of fun. I think I'd really enjoy this. Oh no, that was a bad idea. But see, that's when you learn too. So yeah, tempting people and making them choose, helping them realize these choices, I think are amazing. I think that's great. Drink some orange juice. Thank you. I'm going to. Um, oh, and garlic. Oh my gosh. I used to love talking. Anytime garlic has come up, right? People go, "Ooh, only if you're a vampire." I do love that because, that's part of how the vampire myth, how part of how garlic was in that, because typically, people who accused or who felt that they were sick because of a revenant, something coming out of the ground there, something dead coming back to life, the person was sick. And so garlic, having an antibacterial, no, an antiseptic in it, I believe, would help. And so I kind of adore that vampires were repelled by garlic really because the people just felt better. They got better. So, I I think this really sums up today. Really not just today. I love how we go from boinking to what really defines the human experience in the space of 60 seconds. Welcome to my head, I guess. This is oh my gosh, I adore that. All right. I am definitely going to shut this down. I kind of wanted to play the game, but actually really loved, that we had these conversations. I really love. Oh my gosh. Cause see, now here we go. That is really what defines the human experience: the ability to go from talking about boinking to. Well, thank you, everybody. This has been amazing. I've got there's a neat a neat thing that I was thinking about doing for Sunday. I was going to talk about what it's like to grow up transgender, because I don't think we've done that, but I really want to focus on ultimately, like, how would this help parents and stuff. And I don't know, Emma, maybe that's a good one to see too. So Margie's in the server and already being pulled into another polycule. This is the weirdest. It's the weirdest group. So anyway, this one I'm thinking about, I'm going to set it up so that Margie's also able to read a poem, and it'll be awesome. So, all right, thank you, everybody. I'm not even going to bother trying to name everybody, but thank you so much. I will see you on Sunday. Oh, I never even took a break. It just struck me. Wow. All right, well, anyway, bye. Talk soon.